You missed this because you're not in our back studio, but Kinsey literally finished the book right before I hit play. Basically.
Yeah, basically.
Close enough. Close enough.
I can guess things.
So, anyways, so we are here to do the Demigods Anonymous live show for December, and we're talking about The Serpent's Shadow by Riordan. Oh, seriously? From the Kane Chronicles. I have a lot of thoughts about this series. What about you, Kinsey?
Yeah. It's been a roller coaster, bros. I'm also like super quickly trying to like flip through all the pages of the graphic novel. Happening in a sense of how it ends. I love this. I'm
anyway, just in case anyone's wondering, Christine is back on her bull shirt. And oh my gosh, you guys are the best.
I'll turn it off later.
Anyways, so we're here to talk about the final Kane Chronicles book, and then tell you what the book for January is going to be, which hopefully we will be doing. Maybe not these. Are you okay, Kinsey?
Mm-hmm. I'm just reading, but listening at the same time.
Okay. Well, anyways, so unfortunately, Kier is not going to be able to join us today, but hopefully we'll be able to see her when we do the Magnus Chase live show, which we haven't figured out the date yet because I am, as usual, behind on everything and never figure anything out ahead of time.
Same.
Anyways, so Kinsey, what were your thoughts on this last novel in the series?
I felt like it was a pretty good tie up. I
think I agree with you.
I'm like super flipping through. Okay. Yes, I agree. Now that I finished it.
Did you know?
No, but I know enough. I think that it's actually a pretty good like tie up. Like I think like seeing like the end of Heroes of Olympus, I'm a lot more happier with how this series ended.
I mean, I was happy with how series. I actually liked how Blood of Olympus ended better than I like how this one ends. But it's not necessarily that I think he does a really good job of tying this series up. My only problem with Blood of Olympus is there was not enough Percy and Annabeth, but that is my problem with every book. Like, even the ones that are mostly Percy and Annabeth.
Even in the Kane Chronicles, I'm like, Percy?
There definitely was not enough Percy and Annabeth in this book. I'll just say that. But, anyways. I think he did a good job wrapping things up. I remember being a little bit disappointed with how things ended. The first time I read this, I don't remember why, though. I was disappointed. But I don't think... So, my initial impression of, like, this series is I don't think it's as engaging and as, like... It feels more removed. Like, and I was thinking about that when I first reading, because, like, everything is going to end up fine because you have these freaking author's notes at the beginning talking about, like, that they're doing this after the fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I do think that they're... Yeah, I don't know why. Like, I don't know how to put this into words. I feel like the writing style is not as engaging. I still love it. It is still a 4-star book, but it's not quite. Yeah, no, I agree what you're saying.
Sorry, Christine has my number. She says I could have a telephone book and say there's not enough Percy and Annabeth. If I went and looked at our telephone book, I bet there are some Percy and Annabeths in there. Not that I'm going to do that when this is over.
Yeah, that's true though.
Anyways, like I love Sadie and Carter as characters. I just don't feel as connected to them.
Well, here's what I've been like noticing, especially as like I've read more into this series, is that Rick's voice, especially in this series, is so similar to Percy's voice in the first. That like with some of the characters, especially like Carter, like I feel like Carter randomly has these like moments of like humor that are so Percy that I'm like, that's totally out of character. Like you wouldn't make that sort of reference, or like you wouldn't combined, like you wouldn't have that humor. That's not how you have adapted to life. And so they're like, I think like those moments especially, and like because I know the first series so well,
Mhm.
I think that that's kind of like made it even harder for me to get into the series.
See, I would say that one of the reasons I find that this is less engaging, even though it's in first person, is I don't feel like they have as distinctive voice. Like
Well,
I
like I think that's
Percy
kind of the
Jackson
thing.
series and know it is Percy Jackson. I'm so sorry, Rick Riordan, if you're watching this, anyone could have written this book, basically. It's kind of like it's a Rick Riordan book in the way that like it's structured and the way he redoes the mythology and like the stuff that he does, but at the same time, it doesn't have the distinctive voice that the Percy Jackson series and the Heroes of Olympus have. And even to the extent Magnus Chase has a distinctive, like I can tell that's Magnus Chase, and I can also tell it's Rick Riordan. But I don't feel like we have Sadie and Carter, like they are their own distinctive characters, but it's not like it's your run-of-the-mill middle grade.
Right. Narrator. And I think that Sadie and Carter, they kind of fall under like a character trope. Like it was almost like he was trying to take these like common character tropes and switch genders with them and then just put them into this magical world. And while I think like, yeah, he did it's a great story, but I do think like there's not enough depth to their characters. Like, yeah, they're a character trope, but like you can do so much with a character trope. And he just was kind of like,
I also feel like the magic system that he created, like I liked it, but I feel like it was getting in the way of me enjoying the book. Does that make sense? Like it almost fell under the whole like everything can be solved by magic thing. I didn't feel like I don't know how to explain it because there are books that have similar magic systems that the stakes are really high, but the stakes were just not high in this series. I wasn't concerned about for these characters the way I am, even though I've reread Percy Jackson like multiple times. I'm still like worried about him in general. And I was never worried for these characters. I also think the fact that there's not a really strong central romance the way there is in Percy Jackson doesn't help me because I'm me.
Yeah, I don't know. Like romance wise, I don't necessarily have like a huge problem. I think that
I don't have a problem with the romance. I think it feels like it was tacked on instead of being organic to the story. Like you start like Thief and you know it's gonna be an Annabeth. Like there's no question, if, ands, buts. Like they were made for each other.
That's true. I do think
but like the romances that were in here, it felt like they were thrown in just because you need romance. And like, I don't get that from any of Rick's other series. You know what I mean?
Well, kind of, yes. I have to maybe disagree on you with that in Heroes of Olympus, but
I love Leo and Calypso. So I
mean, I do too, but like, come on.
I love all of those relationships.
Oh, I do see what you're saying though. Like, I think that
they don't have that, that spark.
Right. And like even when they do, like, I think that either he tried to like, okay, they have the possibility of the spark, but the stories, like how they got to the relationship, weren't as organic as Percy and Annabeth. No, but in my opinion, nothing can compare to Percy and Annabeth. Like,
I mean, I could name a few ships, but they're not Rick Riordan ships. So,
right. Like, I think that maybe comparing Rick's other ships to Percy and Annabeth just isn't fair because they're so amazing in my mind.
They are a power couple.
They are, like, you can't. No, you can't. But I think, like, even then, like, the other relationships, even in, like, if we're just looking at Heroes of Olympus, like, Piper and Jason, I mean, Yeah, they have chemistry like when you first meet them, but I do think that like their relationship is pretty like it develops in an organic way, like how it started to us. Where these ones are kind of like, oh, okay, here we go. Bam, you're in a relationship. Or, oh, you forgot about me, and then bam, we're in a relationship.
And like it's funny because it could have been, maybe it's not so much that it's shoehorned in. I think it's rushed. I think if you had had 5 books to develop these relationships instead of 3, I would have been into it because they spend so much time apart from their romantic leads. Like we barely get, and I think we don't get a lot of Walt in this one, if I remember correctly. And we definitely like, and I love Walt. Walt is such a good character. He is a soft boy, and I love him. Anyways, but I feel like it's rushed. Like the stuff that's happening, especially thinking about Zia and Carter, like one minute she's not sure what she wants to do, and then suddenly she's kissing him, and I'm just like, we needed to see things from her perspective for this to have worked.
I agree. I do especially think that Zia and Carter are rushed. And I think that they could have had I think they could have had like a Percy and Annabeth type of like powerness had there been more books for them to actually develop.
Like, I feel like Walt and Sadie has a little bit better development, and the only thing that I feel Rick kind of mishandled with that was her attraction to Anubis and the fact that she actually likes him. Like, I would have been much more okay with this relationship if she had kept going on about how much she likes Anubis, but also like Walt. And I'm just like it was really weird.
Which makes me freaking, I don't even know how I feel about this whole Anubis, Walt, and Sadie thing. Like,
it doesn't bother me too much because Walt is like, from what we've seen, it's the same thing that Sadie and Carter had with Horace and Isis. So like, we know that Walt is still very much the one in the driver's seat. You know what I mean? So it doesn't bother me as much. And also the fact that Rick Riordan basically says that mentally and physically, Anubis is technically a teenager. I'm okay with it because he says that's what it is. And so we know that he's not being predatory. But like, I still feel weird about the fact that she's into this 4,000-year-old guy. I mean, I get that he's hot and all. I get that. But it's still like the fact that she's like, oh, I get both of them in one body. I'm just like, that's weird.
What? I'm weirded.
I am so weirded out. Like, I'm like, and so is she having a relationship with one person or 2 people? I don't understand this.
It's like, it's almost like Rick was like, ooh. Like back in the day, Rick was like, somehow, some way, I would smash. Sorry. God, I just don't even know. Like, I think that it would be like, I would be more okay with this whole like Anubis, Walter, Sadie thing if it was just like they weren't one person. Like, I know there's the whole God thing, but like if just make one of them like a polyamorous and let's just like go with this. Like, let's not have them.
You're saying that it would work for you if Walt had also been into Anubis.
Yeah. Yes. And like Sadie and Anubis were just like, okay, let's do this. Like, yeah, okay. But no, they have to be one person.
Except that they technically are not one person. And that's the thing that really weirds me out. Like, if they were actually one person, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But the fact that they are not one person and it's like, this is weird. It's kind of like you're cheating on both of them. It feels like to me. Yeah. It's weird.
Well, and it's just like, because this is why I fucking hate love triangle. I hate love triangles. Let it be noted. Yeah, that's true.
I'm friends with Christine. I don't.
That's true, though.
I would not. I like my guys human Anubis. Although human Anubis does sound pretty hot. However, he is like 15, theoretically.
Okay, him in my age level.
What was it? Well, I did my favorite series of all time video. No, I was doing my Q&A, and someone, Brianna, asked what fictional character I would want to, like, spoiler alert, what side character I would switch with, and I was like, I would switch with someone in the Nightwing comics. No, I was talking about it was somebody completely else. Somebody asked me, like, who I would want as a fictional boyfriend, and I was like, well, Percy Jackson, if he's my age, but also I would totally date Will Herondale because he's legal. Like, there's a book coming out, and he's going to be older than I am. So, like, hello, officially legal.
Officially, what's up,
bro? Officially date Will Herondale and not feel weird about it. 20-year-old me was very into Will Herondale. He's part Jackal, Christine, not part Greyhound.
Same thing. It's a dog.
Which makes it weirder.
Okay, but the image, wait, there's this funny ass, okay, so
oh no.
When Carter, like, when stop, people. No. Stop.
Are you looking at Christine's comment about Will Herondale?
Yes. I love it, but oh God.
This is basically how all of our Twitter DMs go down. There might be children watching Christine.
No, I love the fact though that like Carter, like when Zia turns into Ra, like imagines kissing Ra, and then when he finds out that Walt and Anubis are one and the same, he imagines Sadie kissing a dog, and it's just like, it's beautiful. It's just a beautiful moment in this series.
I really like him. He's just like, I liked his like disconnect between the fact that his girlfriend was also like could be his grandpa. Just like, yeah, I can see that being awkward. I can definitely see that being awkward. Like,
no, yeah, that would be
also not want to be kissing Ra. Hold on, there's a light on my and it's bugging me.
I would rather have Walt and Anubis be one person than have my boyfriend also be Ra.
Well, obviously, because it just depending on which flavor you want, you could switch boys with Walt and Anubis and they both be equally hot. Are you okay, Kenzie?
I can't. No. No.
Anyways, okay. So, how do you feel about how Rick integrated the Greek, not the Egyptian mythology with the storyline? That's what I'm looking for. That's the word I'm looking for.
I kind of like it. Like, I kind of like the fact that Rick just like openly says like, hey, people have different beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
They're all not wrong.
Yeah.
I think like that's kind of what you take away from it. Like, I like the fact that like, yeah, like that you can be in one spot and it's like, okay, what these people believe is actually real. Mm-hmm. And then you go to another spot and you're like, oh, yeah, this is real too. Like, I think that it's a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
So,
as a Christian, one of my favorite things that I love about his series, he's like, does this negate the existence of like capital G God? Like in both series, he talks about that. And he's like, not necessarily. These people just also exist. And I like that fact because it makes it like, my parents would not have let me read a book. I mean, I read this as an adult, but like as a kid, my parents would not have let me read a book where he was like, no, God doesn't exist. And it's really the Greek gods and all of that. Like, I appreciate that. Also, I want to know in a fight, who would win Apollo versus Ra? Since they're both supposed to be taking the sun across the sky, like, how do they work that out? Like,
I'm going to say that there's like multiple suns that just combined into one.
Possibly.
That's how I'm going to imagine this.
I think Ra would probably
or all of like the sun gods, they're like best bros and they just take days.
Yeah, I can see that.
You're the Monday god. I'm the Tuesday. You got Wednesday, bro? Okay, you got Wednesday. You got Thursday. Anyone got Thursday? No? Fine. I'll do a double shift this week.
Oh, talking about like, hey, can you take my Friday?
Right?
Christine, I'm going to need you to calm down just a little bit.
Bro.
We're talking Egyptian mythology, not Greek mythology.
Bro. But like, what house or what cabin are you?
One of the things that really I felt was weird was the fact that Setna was like this Italian mobster wannabe, and yet at the same time, he's also supposed to be Egyptian and black. I'm like, you realize.
He was interesting.
He was a character. I love the fact that he was like, you knew he was like, he's like, you knew I was gonna trick you. And like, so obviously that made it okay that he tried to trick you. Like, you knew it was gonna happen.
Come on, bro, it was written in the contract.
Like, he'd try and kill Carter and they'd be like, I knew you were gonna survive. I'm just like, also, I feel like he was trying to do Italian mobster the narrator had, and he was giving me like the stereotypical Jewish aunt. Like, it definitely wasn't the grandma, and it wasn't the mom. It was your aunt.
I need to listen to the audio. Oh, I need to listen to the audio.
Sadie's voice, the guy who narrated Carter, Sadie's voice sounded like a great Aunt Ethel. Not great, no, like Grandma Ethel. Like, I mean, she sounded like a 70-year-old British woman who lived in the countryside.
Beautiful.
Yes. I was just like, wow, this guy. Anyways, so did you have, by any chance, a favorite moment in this book?
Well, shout out to the pigeon.
That was so funny.
Fun fact about Kenzie, I freaking love pigeons. Advanced animals. Pigeons are advanced animals. Like, fight me on this. One time I saw a pigeon wait for the crosswalk sign to turn green before it walked across the sidewalk.
I think
they are advanced animals. And Horace, you could not have done a better job at a host.
That was really funny. My favorite part of that is like when he's like, please don't poop on my bed.
Oh my god. Oh, it was beautiful.
It was.
I think a favorite. I don't know if I have a favorite moment.
I don't know. Like, that's what I was gonna say. I don't know that I had a favorite moment in this that I really truly like enjoyed. Partly because I think the audiobook was really biting into my enjoyment of like the actual moments. Like, it made it sound everybody was so I really did like the moment that Sadie had with her mom, even if it was about Walt, and I was slightly weirded out by the conversation they were having. Oh, here, Kinsey. How do you pronounce that, Christine? I think it's I can't remember. It's been a while since I took anything German. So the German for pigeon is it Taub or Tube?
Taub.
I can't remember. I had to take a German pronunciation thing when I was in choir, but that was like 8 years ago. Anyways. Oh, okay.
I don't think of all the other German words I know.
I really liked the fact that Carter ends up being the Pharaoh. I was so proud of him.
I said a Pharaoh. Uh-oh. Oh, baby. I loved that song as a child. Really Christian households.
Yay! I'm pretty sure.
I did like that Carter kind of got to step up into that role.
I also like the fact that he was wise enough to be like, you know what? I'm going to leave most of this to my uncle.
Same, bro. Same.
Okay.
I literally told my mom today, packing up the house, my mom asked me a question, and I go, I don't know, Mom. You're the adult. I am a 22-year-old woman, okay? I am considered an adult. And I love myself.
Hey, I am 32 in less than 2 weeks, so.
Oh, look at us. We're
I'm technically considered an adult, but I don't feel like one because I feel like I don't know how to do it. Like, I know how to do stuff, but like when I'm confronted with stuff, I'm like, I don't actually know how to do anything at all in my life ever.
Same.
So, okay. So, were there any standout characters in this series for you?
I mean, like, I kind of really like Anubis, but like
Do you like Anubis because he's Anubis, or do you like Anubis because he's like Nico Light?
I mean, yeah. Yes. Yes.
That doesn't answer the question, but okay. I think
I think I don't know.
I really liked Bess in these last two books. I had so much fun with Bess. I was so glad we got him back. I couldn't remember how we got him back. I just knew we did. And also good for Toirette for getting it.
I also like Bast.
Bast is fun. I felt like she wasn't as much fun in this book as she was in the first book, but she is so much fun. I loved when she was like, Yarn, it's a very dangerous prey. And I'm just like, you're such a brat.
Relatable Bast.
I think of the two siblings, my favorite is probably Sadie, because she kind of reminds me of myself in attitude, at least in my thought life. Like, Carter is terrible and I love him, but he doesn't make me go, oh yeah, that's relatable as much. Yeah. Because he is a boy.
I think that out of the two siblings, Sadie's probably my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I probably relate to Carter on more levels than I do Sadie.
I love that Carter was homeschooled because I was also homeschooled. And so I'm like, yes, homeschoolers.
No, I'm all about this public school.
Yeah.
Having not read this, my answer is now the pigeon. Yes.
What are you? But Christine, the question is: after having heard us talk about it, will you be reading this book? That's the question. Considering that somebody gets Anubis.
Anubis, bro.
Yes. Let's see what other.
Bro.
I'm trying to think of like
maybe,
I feel like
maybe I just like Anubis because I like how he looks in the graphic novels. I'm like, oh, you a cute little boy.
Kinsey, why are you like
yourself? Also, I have wiener dogs on my socks, and they're dressed as hot dogs. It makes me really happy.
That's nice. I think of the two love interests, Walt was my favorite, and so
that's hurtful.
I
hope that one was Percy Jackson.
If Christine has not read
what?
I'm sorry. I just saw Christine's most recent comment and anyways. If Christine has not read Percy Jackson, I might have to unfriend her. Saying it's a requirement to be my friend to have read Percy Jackson. You don't have to like it, you just have to read it.
True.
Like I can handle people not liking it.
Yeah.
But you gotta read it. Anyways, okay, so the Serpent, let's talk about that. How did you feel? I like the fact that it was not entirely. I love the image of this giant pillar of order pinning this giant serpent shadow. I thought that was so good. Oh, good. Christine has read Percy Jackson like 3 times. Have you read the entire series? And have you read Heroes of Olympus? Because that's my favorite book ever. Anyways, I liked that the fact he made the fact that Apophis is trying to destroy the world. He made it make sense.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I think that all of the mythology and the magic made sense.
Made sense. I just feel like it had the same spot.
I do like this, you were talking about the image, and I think that the graphic novel did a really good job at painting that image. So I'm going to show you. See, wait, can you see it? Where's my camera?
Yeah, I see it where it's stretching to the horizon. I remember the giant head of this cobra stretching to the horizon. And I'm just like, yes, this is such a good image. Basically, if anyone's wondering, Apophis, I feel like Christine's the only one actually watching besides, Kinsey. Apophis is the giant serpent of chaos that wants to destroy the world. And I always like the fact that Rick really acknowledges the fact that things are like it's not necessarily good and evil that's at work in his books. It's the fact that chaos and entropy are continually trying to exert their force on our lives, and we have to like things have to be brought back into order. I felt that. Yeah. I feel like Sadie and Carter maybe need to go execrate Apophis again, considering the state of the world right now.
Please. Just the state of my everyday world, like, yeah, things are going bad, bro.
Christine, you are not a giant chaos snake.
I don't think I've even like ever talked to you, but like I need to be your friend.
She was in the group chat for the write-ins.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, yeah, I like the fact that he does it. It's not necessarily good or evil. It's just the cycle of the way things go. Is like things are continually trying to devolve into chaos, and we have to bring them back. I like that fact. I also found it interesting that defeating Apophis meant that the Egyptian gods had to be pushed further away. So, I mean, it's sad because one of them is their dad. I'm not happy about the fact that both of their parents stay dead.
No, like,
I'm not happy about it. I mean, at least Percy has Sally Jackson, the best fictional mom since Molly Weasley.
Right.
And Paul Blofeld.
I just like, and I feel like, I mean, like, yeah, and like the part of their parents that we do see, like, they've been pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, bro, they dead. Like, they flat out dead.
And who thought a 16-year-old should be in charge of an entire house, school thing full of teenage magicians?
Right. I can't even wash the dishes on a regular basis.
Like,
Whoa.
Like, I was slightly concerned that they were 5-year-olds at Brooklyn House trying to I mean, they were vicious 5-year-olds, but why? Children are vicious.
Yeah. They are chaos within themselves.
Very much chaos. Anyways. All right, do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about for the Serpent's Shadow? Since Kira's not here to tell us everything we're wrong about.
I know.
And why Anubis is a bad love interest. Because I have a feeling that was going to be a lot of what Kira had to say.
I love Anubis.
I have a lot of play with fictional love interests and age gaps a lot of the time.
That's true.
Like,
Kira's very good at talking some sense into me about love interests. I'll give her that one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I just feel like there's the thing that with fiction, unless there's something in the narrative to contradict the author telling me that a love interest is what they say they are, I'm not going to be as creeped out. It's part of why I'm sort of okay with the Vampire Academy books, even though he's technically her teacher.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I know. Fiction, bro.
Yeah. Like that, it's part of why I'm okay with like yes, Edward is creepy in Twilight.
Oh yeah, no, hands down.
He's creepy and a mess, and I haven't reread it, and I don't know how I would feel about it now. But like when I read it, I was like, but I don't feel like Bella is being threatened by him, that he is being threatening. I feel like if she actually wanted nothing to do with him and wanted him to back off, he would if she told him that. So, anyway, to me. Yeah. I mean, granted, Sadie can't tell Anubis to back off. So.
Yeah. Anubis, you confuse me. Death. What is death? As I look like a toe.
Okay, so yes, Christine, I agree. Immortal people deserve love too. Just sometimes I like for them to be with a little bit more age-appropriate love interests.
If you're immortal, you cannot have an age-appropriate love interest.
Yes, you can. Another immortal. But like, here's the thing. Like, somebody was getting like, there's in the Teen Titans. I guess there's a character that's 1,000 years old, but they've been trapped inside a lamp for most of that time. And so, like, they're technically still like mentally and physically 13. And so I have it like, if you're telling me a character is mentally and physically the age that the other character is, even though they've been around for 1,000 years, I'm okay with it. If we're talking about somebody who's been out there like actually living life for the last 1,000 years, less okay with it. And I need to know the exact situation. You know what I mean? Are you okay over there, Kendra?
Yeah. Not really, but it's fine. We're dealing
Well,
with
if you are the only immortal Christine, then you better be looking for an adult and not a teenager. That's my thing. Like, I'm okay with like,
hasn't lived as long as you.
Here's the thing, though. At a certain point, you get to a point where, like, it really doesn't matter how old the person that you're with is a lot of the time. Once you get, I like what, like Once Upon a Time does this really well. She's with a 300 guy who's 10 times her age, but she's 30 and she knows who she is. She's not going to like cave. She's not going to be manipulated. I feel like you have to watch out for that, because if you're talking about someone who's 300 years old trying to date an 18-year-old, they could possibly be looking for someone to manipulate. That makes sense.
But I also think like see, if I see like manipulative actions happening, then I'm like, oh, this is bad. But if there's no like manipulation and they're just kind of like, you be you, hun, like you're tight, I love you, then
it just depends on the situation and how the story is crafted for me. It doesn't automatically mean like I don't want this to happen. It just means that I might be a little bit more like The Bear and the Nightingale is a good example. I went into it knowing that this guy has kind of been sort of grooming her from the beginning, but at the same time, what he's doing is preparing her for what's going to happen to her as she gets older.
Is that a good story?
I liked it. I really liked it. And it's very clear that what he's doing is not so that she will be in a relationship with him, and is instead so she will survive. And then a romance is going to kind of blossom in the next couple of books, from what I understand. So I wasn't very proud. I wasn't, by the end of the book, I wasn't as like I was okay with it, but I went into it being like, I'm slightly suspicious of this.
Yeah, I get that.
So, anyways.
I get that.
Christine, never mind. I'm not going to say that because that was mean.
It's true. Immortal people can't date. In general.
Okay, so let's talk about what our book for January is going to be, and you will have the whole month of January to read this in theory. And it is going to be the first book in the Magnus Chase series, The Spirit of Summer. I definitely like this series. I haven't even finished the series, and I can already tell you that I like it more than I like the Kane Chronicles. But also, I still love the Kane Chronicles. Like, they're still very good, and I think people should read them. Even though I've spent like most of the live show bashing them, please forgive me, Rick.
Yeah, bro.
They're just not Percy.
I mean, no.
I mean, this isn't Percy ever, and so I don't love it as much. But it also has Annabeth, who like is 10 times Percy. Like, one Annabeth is equal to 10 Percys. So, unless you're trying to like control the water.
Water bending. Percy style.
Anyway,
not my Percy.
Anyway, well, the way they did that in the musical was so good. Like with the light and the toilet paper.
Beautiful.
The entire front row at my theater was covered. Like, everyone was covered in toilet paper after Son of Poseidon.
The first time I saw the musical, I sat like second row. So toilet paper got on me. I still have toilet paper in my memory box. I love myself. I look like a gray toe.
Yes, you've said that before.
I know. I just like really look like a gray toe.
Are you okay?
Things are happening in my life that's just.
Christine, you're going to have to explain these to me. Not my Percy, still my Annabeth. I don't understand this. I don't understand what's happening right now.
Same.
I love them both. I just love Annabeth more.
Rude. Understandable, though. I know you've said that, so I'll forgive.
I want to be Annabeth. Like, oh, that was the question. If you wanted to be any like fictional character, I was like, can I be Annabeth Chase? Because he has the best, like literally the best boyfriend in all of literature. Best boyfriend.
Oh. My answer is Percy, bro.
You would want to be Percy?
Yep.
I my thing is I like being a woman or a girl. And in the case of Annabeth, I would not want to change any of this.
Percy's my bro. We're bros. We are the same on the inside. Actually, Percy probably doesn't eat as much sugar as I do, so we're not the same. It's fine.
I don't know. His mom did work in that candy shop.
Oh.
So
True. I've never read the Dark Artifices.
Yes, that's the third Cassandra Clare series that's come out. It is not as impressive as the first two, but it's still good.
Aren't those books like thick?
They are, but
that's why I never read.
For the most part, they're worth it. I have issues with Queen of Air and Darkness, but we're not here to talk about those. Oh no, Kenzie, you froze.
I died.
I can hear you.
Is that the one series that you're always like weeping about the like friend to lover thing? The slow burn. That's what I'm calling. I feel like you're complaining about the slow burn in that book.
I literally complain about the slow burn in every book, despite the fact that I really want slow burn.
I know.
Like I love
it.
Burn. I don't know what I could possibly have been complaining about recently that is not Jude and Carden. or Safi and Merrick. Okay, like Blood Witch did maybe. I have issues with Blood Witch. It was amazing, and yet I hate it. I can't wait until I get to talk about it for my December wrap up.
Yike, the tea will be spilled.
Oh no, no tea will be spilled. It's just I'm going to be a complete incoherent mess.
Darn, I was looking for some tea.
I can't spill any tea on this series. It is an amazing series.
Fine, I'll read it.
Anyway,
whatever.
Yes, you should read it, Kinsey. It will murder you, and you would love Adwin so much. He would be your new baby.
Now I have to read it.
Yes. Anyways, Sword of Summer. We are reading that for January. We will let you know when the live show is. Hopefully, I will get my crap together and actually let you know ahead of time when the live show is instead of like 10 minutes out.
That won't happen.
I'm going to sit down with us and we're going to figure out a date soon.
Stop.
Anyways.
You liar.
All right. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. You know the deal. I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye.